Good afternoon, it's Lindsay. It's Sunday, August 24th, 2025. And so I'm going to talk about what happened today at the gym. So like I said, if I stop going to a certain location for a while and then all of a sudden start going again, these people, since they have to keep tabs on everything I do and surveil me to make me uneasy and nervous and agitated, they have to let me know that they're watching me all the time. And obviously the people doing this are people who are what I suspect to be probably law enforcement or government type military, probably private security, whatever, okay? And I do believe that a lot of my harassment, and I've talked about this before, this organized vigilante gang stalking is directly connected to that man who recruited me in whatever year that was, like 2009 or something, when I was taking that online course from Penn Foster University, Penn Foster College online. I was taking a course, or I took a course. I completed the course in private investigation. And the only reason I did that at the time, well, not the only reason, but the main reason I decided to do that was because at the time I was, all involved with that, trying to get a job with the Houston Police Department. They had put me through their entire application process and their recruiting thing and the interviewing process and whatnot. They kept asking me to go back there for various interviews, and I did their physical agility test, which I passed it, all that crap. And then they even took my fingerprints and all this weird stuff at the Houston Police Department. That was around 2007 or 8 or whatever year it was. I don't remember exactly, but around that time, I had also been enrolled at the University of Houston downtown in the getting a master's degree in criminal whatever the fuck you call it. Sorry, criminal justice. I'm sorry, my words are getting kind of mixed up today, but and that was not anything I wanted to do either. I didn't want to go into that field. I did have an interest in accident investigation and true crime and things like this, like profiling criminals and all that. I've always had an interest in those kind of dark psychological type things in the mind, in the human mind, and psychology, sociology, anthropology, science, history, all that, art. But nonetheless, I was pushed into that field by the man that my mother was involved with, Mr. Bob Sussman, who was a criminal defense attorney. Bob Sussman, Robert, but he went by the name Bob was his nickname. So he was a criminal defense attorney, and whenever she got involved with him, around the year 2000, when I had just gotten out of finished my degree at UT Austin, she all of a sudden gets involved with this Bob Sussman man. After I had signed contracts, signed release forms, and I had been filmed several times in Austin, Texas, when I was still in my 20s, and I was not knowing what I wanted to do, or I was trying to find work and all that. In different fields. I wanted to go into the entertainment industry. I wanted to do something that was creative, but I didn't know all that it entailed. And if I would have known all that back then, I wouldn't have signed anything without having the approval of a lawyer or representative, which I didn't have. I was just eagerly signing things, being filmed, and taken advantage of and exploited. And then one thing led to another. But they obviously liked me or whatever because they filmed me. They kept nonetheless, something happened after I signed those contracts and after I was filmed. I don't know exactly what they did with the footage of me when they interviewed me, the various things that I went, these auditions and whatnot, and other things that I did and contracts that I signed. I'm not sure, but I just know that a lot of things started happening to me after that. And that was when I was still I had still a student at UT Austin. Well, I was about to be finished. I was about to graduate. Or I'd already graduated, but I was in limbo trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I did not want to go back to Houston, God forbid. I did not want to go. I wanted to stay in Austin, Texas. And since it was so difficult to find a job there for me, for whatever reason, because I couldn't find a job. And so I started doing that. And then all these things, that's when all this, that just one thing after the next. I get evicted from my apartment. I get sent to a psychiatrist who diagnoses me as bipolar, which was inaccurate. One thing led to another, and then my mother's involved with this Bob Sussman man, who for whatever reason is basically exploiting me for different reasons. It was very obvious that he was exploiting me and that there was some kind of money or profit being made off of me. Because the first job that I got after I moved back to Houston, which I didn't want, like I said, I didn't want to go back to Houston. I was forced to go back there. I was horrible what I went through. They basically blackmailed me and told me that if I didn't comply with their demands, that I was going to get put in a mental hospital and all this, all because I found out about that, all because of that man, Walter Schutze. It has something to do with him, and I can guarantee you. And if that man, Walter Schutze, is related to me, is my grandfather or something, or related to my mother, whatever, there's something about that man that it irritated the fucking shit, pardon me, whatever that noise was, it irritated the crap out of these people whenever that man encountered me in 1997 at the cafeteria Luby's in Austin. As soon as that man met me, ooh, wow, Kenny gets all pissed off, Carter gets jealous and envious. It's like, what's going on here? And why are they making such a big deal about this man, Walter Schutze? Because I told them about that, and they just fucking flipped out. My mother got so mad at me. It's like, what's going on here? Do you know him? Is he related to you? Because he certainly seems to know everything about me, but nobody would tell me. You see, I kept asking questions, and I kept getting punished. Every time I would ask a question or bring it up, I would get punished by my mother, by her son, or my half-sibling, by anybody in my family. And they knew something. They knew something about that man. And I think that maybe he was friends with Pops. It's possible because Pops had gone to Texas A&M, and he was in the Army and military, whatever, and his degree was in mechanical engineering. I don't know what that had to do with working at Uncle Ben's Rice for so many years, but nonetheless, he was an engineer. He had that kind of mindset of an inventor, an engineer, a mechanical engineer. That's what he was. That's what he studied. And he was in the military man. And but anyway, it's all connected. It's what my point here. What I'm trying to make a point is that this is all connected. And that Bob Sussman having all of a sudden getting involved with my mother was no accident, because, like I said, I think that he could be Carter's father or something, because they look alike, they act alike, they talk alike, they have the same voice. Okay? There's something about, and why would my mother have married him after a certain age? You don't really get married. Most people, after age 60, they normally don't get married, okay? They might become boyfriend and girlfriend and partners and live together and cohabitate, but getting married at that age, whenever he had his own family and my mother already had kids as well, adult kids, there's something kind of strange about that, isn't there? Maybe some kind of financial reasons, or maybe because he was a surrogate father to Carter, or something that, or maybe he not even a something that that's his biological father. You see, something doesn't make sense, and none of that was done by accident. It was all orchestrated. So that's why I'm almost convinced that man is related to Carter, my half-sibling. The way they look alike, they have the same mannerisms, the same voice. Something, but they certainly don't want me to know these things, because I can figure stuff out. I can observe people and I can listen to them, and I can remember things from my past and kind of connect the dots. But every time I seem to get closer to something that could be true, the more I get gang stalked, the more I get punished, the more I get in trouble, like threatened, blackmailed, or then they send another agent or handler out to mess with me, to fake a relationship, to keep a lid on it, right? Or to try to steal my finances, to steal my identity, to steal my anything that I have going for me. They want to take that away and give themselves credit for it, what I've worked for, my ideas, my creativity. These people like to steal. It's like they call it destiny swapping and soul snatching and stuff. This stuff is real, because when you get involved with these people, not by accident or whatever, by no fault of your own, they infiltrate your life. They take over your life. They try to control everything about your life. And then you have no credibility, because they work with the psychiatrists. They work with the medical doctors. They work with the government. And so if you're trying to get help or any kind of credibility, it's almost like you just get laughed at and mocked by these people, because it's all connected. It's like a big hydra and they're all connected. And then when you start learning about white-collar criminals and white-collar crime, and about money laundering and counterfeit money and human trafficking, gang stalking, sex trial, all that shit, it's all connected. Narcissism, societal narcissism, psychopaths, all of this stuff is connected. It's all connected, and especially political Zionism. These people, Khazarian mafia, the mafias in general, cartels, drug cartels, it's all connected. All of it is connected. You might not see the connections, but it is all connected, because these people are in cults. They are in various cults, whether it be some kind of Freemasonic organization, whatever, some kind of something that they're involved with, some kind of religious cult, maybe, but there's a connection that these people have, that they kind of, they get away with things that other people would spend their lives in prison for, okay, or other people would have to pay the consequences, whereas these people just get a little pat on the back, and then everything's back to normal, quote unquote, for them, because they have the connections and the money to pay the right people to defend them, or it gets brushed aside, or it gets exonerated, or something always happens, like all of a sudden, you'll hear about these kinds of situations where they get accused of something, but it's like, how do I put this in words? In other words, they basically get away with crimes that are horrendous, insidious crimes, horrible things that you'd be shocked about what these people do and get involved with. I've heard stories, I've known some people like this, and the stuff that they do, and they try to keep it a secret until you start exposing them. Then that's when they start giving you death threats and threatening your life, because of their drug cartel connections or whatever they're connected to. Because I'm an example of what happens when you blow the whistle on this corruption stuff, and then you find out one lie after the next that they tell you, and then you find out that your entire life is a lie. Everything, like who you are, where you were born, your biological father, you were lied to, or I was lied to about everything. It's like, who do you trust? You try to pay somebody to get help, maybe a spiritual advisor or even legal help, to get answers, just answers, facts, and then they twist it around and make it look like you are delusional, crazy, paranoid, desperate, these things that they label you as being, when in fact it's actually them projecting a lot of that, because these people hide behind a facade of darkness. They don't come out into the light. It's like they're afraid of the light. They're afraid of exposure, because they know what they're doing is wrong, and they hide it because they're like snakes. They're serpent And I don't mean O negative blood. I have O negative blood and I'm not a fucking snake or serpent. I don't do things in the dark to try to fuck up people's lives, or you know what I mean? I'm a light worker. I do things in the light. I don't even like I'm just saying I'm not one of these evil, satanic people, but I have a lot of power in what I say and what I think, because I can make things happen. Things happen in my life I don't know how to explain that, but a lot of stuff happens that I start thinking about, and then all of a sudden it happens, like a week later or a couple weeks later or somewhere, and things like that have been happening to me my entire life. And no, I'm not trying to brag, but this is real in my life, and it's always been like that, and I don't know where that comes from or how to explain that. But certain people are more in tune with their surroundings than others. Certain people are more aware, cognizant of government surveillance, okay? Everything that you do is under surveillance. I don't care if you believe it or not, but most of you are unaware that you have hidden cameras in your homes. Probably. They could be anywhere. Like in this house that I live in, because it's in my mother's name, and I'm fighting so hard to try to get this house in my name, because she's getting to the point where she's got dementia. She's 80-something years old now. She doesn't even live in the same country, and we never speak. And she seems to want me destitute, or maybe not her, but her son. I think that he blackmails her or bribes her, but I think that he's the one who's a problem. Well, I don't get along with any of them, but they don't seem to want anything good for me, and they never have. Why? The question is why? Because I was born from adultery? Because you lied about who my father is? Could that possibly be it? Because I'm a shameful child born from sin? Okay, well, you know what? Like I said, I had to break that fucking curse. I don't have a family of my own, and I don't want one. I don't even have because they've made my life so impossible that you can't have a relationship that's legit hardly ever when you're a true legit targeted individual and you're fucking gang stalked and surveilled and harassed everywhere you go just about on a daily basis. It's very next to impossible to have a real relationship, because most of them are superficial people who've been bought and sold into your life, like you're an object to be traded and tossed around. And that's how narcissistic people view human beings, is just something they can toss away when they're done sucking your energy and they don't want you anymore. They just toss you aside and move on to their next victim. And this is what they do. They're vampires. They basically, you'll notice that a lot of these people, what I've noticed in my life, patterns of these malignant, often covert malignant narcissists who try to hide it. Sometimes they're very overt. Other times they're covert about it, but nonetheless, they fit the description of being psychopathic, primary psychopaths mostly, or sociopaths. They're malignant narcissists, covert. Mostly the ones I've dealt with are malignant narcissists, but they have absolutely no remorse for feelings. They don't display any emotion. If they do, it's very fake. They don't have any empathy. They can't put themselves in your situation for the life of them, because they just can't do that. They don't know how to truly have any empathy for another person at all. They can't. They don't know how to do it. It's impossible for these people. And so it's like you're dealing with somebody who's basically, I don't know what, an alien, but somebody who's a monster, somebody who has no heart, no soul. Yeah, they have a heart and soul, but it's black, it's dead. It's dead, because whatever they did in their past, they sold their soul to the dark side. They really did. Now, thank God I never did that. I could have gone that route where I really got lost into that shit, and I could have easily gone the wrong path. But I think that my higher power, God, was protecting me from that stuff, because I've had opportunities. And I've also had so many near-death experiences, as well as death threats, the gang stalking and whatnot. Well, they don't just stalk anybody. They're not just going to go waste their time stalking and harassing just anybody. There's got to be a reason why that they're doing that. You see, It's not just, oh, it's just another ordinary. No, none of that stuff is ordinary. Little ordinary things here and there that happen in a person's life, sure. But when it's every single day, everywhere you go, that, how in the hell could that be described as being ordinary? That they know what they're doing, and they're doing it with the fucking surveillance cameras. Because mostly, what I have found out from my own due diligence in research and putting hours and hours of time into watching videos of targeted people, listening to videos, reading, writing, making videos, okay, the documenting things, document, write down, document, record. That's what I do. Well, I have found that most of these people that do this, they 9 out of 10 times are, like I said, they're either government whistleblowers, ex-government, or they're retired government, or they themselves have been sold into the system to be, instead of a sentence in jail or prison, they get to do this is for alternative to going to jail, right? They get to fucking harass and stalk and spy on their innocent neighbors and infiltrate your life and steal your identity and your fucking money, pardon my language. But what the fuck gives these people the right to do that? These people are ex-cons, usually they're drug dealers, they're pimps, they're prostitutes, they're dirty people. Dirty as in they have a dirty soul and a dirty mind. They went the wrong way and they never went back. They never repented. So it seems. They don't have the ability to repent or the ability to discern from right and wrong. Now, we all do bad things. Everybody sins, but most of us are aware of what we do, and we try to work on ourselves after we know we fucked up. But a lot of people out there don't have the ability to do that, and they just get further and further and further down into that abyss of chaos and drugs, alcoholism, whatever that they get, sex addicts, porno. Now that's a bad one, because when you're addicted to that stuff, it'll kill. They get diseases, they get STDs, they spread it like wildfire to people because they don't even care. They do it on purpose. A lot of these demonic, sick people, because they're angry and they feel rejected, and they want to make sure that you feel like shit if you reject them, or refuse them, or break up with them, or whatever. Oh yeah, they do this all the time. These narcissistic people who feel that they have to, when they lose control over a person or their object, that they can't handle the word no. There's a lot of, and these people belong in a fucking mental hospital. They belong in, some of them in jail or prison, but they get away with this kind of shit because of whatever the fuck organizations they're involved with. But they're basically criminals, psychopaths walking around, narcissistic psychopaths that are dangerous, and nobody, until you call them out and start fucking recording them, then maybe somebody's gonna believe what you're talking about. But it's gonna take you having to fucking record them and putting it on a fucking YouTube channel for anybody to give you any credibility that you deserve when it comes to these fucking harassers working for the goddamn fucking government infusion center, because that's what they've been doing to me, sending these motherfucking psychopath, sex addict, druggy, fucking cokeheads, porno addicts, monster, aggressive men to fuck with me, to try to basically rape me or take advantage of me, and nobody believes me. But that they use coercive abuse, they use threats, they use blackmail. They steal your money, they steal your identity. They think they come onto your property unannounced, uninvited. This is a fucking government allowing this. Your own fucking government. Your own fucking goddamn stupid corrupt fucking police department, sheriff's department, fucking FBI, CIA, fusion center, all that shit. They're the ones doing it. The military is directly behind the goddamn gang stalking. The military is the one who has the patents for the V2K. Look this stuff up. There's a man, I think it's called his name was Alan Fry or something, whatever. The patent for V2K, I think he's a man who invented it or something. And it's all this is all out there in the open. It's all information. If you type in the fucking computer and research it, you'll find that there's patents out there for the V2K and all this stuff. Something called lily wave technology, where they're basically frying your brain using microwave technology in fucking houses next door to you that are so quote unquote abandoned. They use microwave harassment, direct energy weapons. This is technology that the government abuses on innocent people in the community via the Community Watch Fusion Center shit. And there are patents out there for this. Look up Lily Wave. Look up that. That's something, and now that I think about that, because I found that and I started writing notes down about Lily Wave because I had never heard of that. And I'm thinking, oh, that's weird, because that woman at the fucking grocery store at HEB that time asking me if I knew somebody named Lily. She claimed to be a psychic from Phoenix, Arizona, or somewhere in Arizona, and asking me, follow me around the grocery store at HEB over there on New Braunfels in East Houston, saying that she sees a dark energy behind me, and do I know anybody named Lily? Or does the name Lily mean anything to me? And I'm like, Lily? And now I'm thinking maybe she meant Lily. Maybe she's just another fucking perp, gang stalker, talking about the Lily Wave shit. Look up that. I'm not going to get into that right now, but I'm just saying this stuff is real. I'm not imagining the gang stalking. I'm not lying about anything. Why would I? They're using people as unwitting experiments, biological warfare, okay, spiritual warfare. They're using you for your blood type. If you have Rh negative blood especially, they're gonna fuck with you and surveil you and stalk you because they don't know where the fuck the O negative blood came from. Whether you be AB negative, A negative, O negative, wherever the fuck, they don't know where that came from. So they do keep tabs on people with Rh negative blood or O negative blood like myself. This is a fact. You can call me crazy, call it conspiracy theory, whatever, but this stuff is real. All you have to do is think about it and do some research. And no, I don't wear a fucking tinfoil hat. I don't sleep in a Faraday cage. I don't feel like I'm getting fucking voices in my head all the time, but this technology is real. They do attack you with microwave weaponry. They do attack you with V2K. They can do these things. They can kill you with an induced heart attack if they want to, wipe you out easily. They can do these things. It's all patented information that is open to the fucking public if you just do some fucking research for yourself and find it. So the goddamn police know about it. If you think that you're targeted and you think the police don't know about this, bullshit, they do. They know 100% about what targeting is and about gang stalking. Yes, they do, because they're directly involved with it. 100% they know what it's about, okay? I can go on and on and on about this stuff and start giving you names of videos to go watch or people, books to read, but nobody gives a shit because, oh, well, that sucks to have to be a targeted individual. Thank God it's not me, they think. I've got my job, I've got my security, I've got my pension, I've got my health insurance. You know what? Yeah, good for you, because you're not brave enough to fucking talk about the fucking corrupt government like I am. Most people are too afraid to open their mouths about until it happens to them, right? Until you get fucked over by the court system, by a probate, by fucked over having your identity stolen, your resources taken, your property, getting blackmailed and gang stalked every fucking where you go by goddamn fucking security dumb fucks, low-level security retard idiots that have voyeuristic, perverted views because they hide behind some fucking computer screen or some goddamn surveillance camera. You know, these people are fucking perverts, most of them. A lot of people who work in the security arena are total fucking perverts. Think about the access to what they have. Of course they're going to spy on people doing things that you don't, going to the bathroom. If you have a sex life or whatever, they're going to fucking spy on you illegally. This is disgusting. But that's what these people do. And then they hide, and then they spread rumors about you that are false to the whole goddamn community or city. So you wonder why there's a big, massive smear campaign about you going on everywhere you go, right? The gym, the store, wherever you work, the fucking local park, the community center, whatever the fuck, they start a smear campaign. Or your ex-partner, handler, whatever the fuck that you upset, who's involved with some fucking porno Pizzagate shit, or human trafficking, or money laundering, for example. Yeah, they're involved with all kinds of shit. They're demons. Basically, they're demons is what they are. They're satanic demons. And if you have any God or spirituality in you, which I hope that you still do, I hope they haven't wiped that away from you, they're gonna fucking harass the shit out of you. Because they don't like you to have a light. They don't like you to see through the bullshit. They want you to be in a low vibration like them. They want you to be a low-level fucking scumbag like these people, and don't go there. Don't let them do that to you.